I'm with Munther Issacs, and we're talking about Christ at the Checkpoint. Munther, what is Christ at the Checkpoint?
Christ at the Checkpoint is an international conference that Bethlehem Bible College organizes. This is the second one. The first one was last year in 2010, and it's a conference, as I said, organized by Bethlehem Bible College to discuss issues related to the Palestinian church, and in particular the theology of the land.
Is this conference for local people, or is it for people worldwide?
It's an international conference, and we hope that Christians from all over the world will come. And so far we've had people register from USA, from England, from Australia, from Germany, from Holland, from all over the world, in addition to locals. So it's a great opportunity for evangelical Christians from all over the world to come and meet and discuss this very important issue.
And what is the aim of the conference?
Well, the aim of this conference is from the title, Hope in the Midst of Conflict. So we are inviting Christians from the world to come and help us think together this question. Where can we find hope in the midst of this conflict that has been, taking place for the last 60 or 70 years? So the main aim is to introduce the world to the Palestinian church, to our situation, in addition to our perspective or our take on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict theologically as well as Palestinians.
Is there hope amongst the conflict?
Well, we believe that there is hope, and that the hope can be found and should be found in the ministry of the church, a church that incarnates the work and ministry and life of Jesus Christ. And so we want to empower the church, the Palestinian church and the Palestinian territories to discover or rediscover this hope, because the conflict, the reality is hard on the ground, and it's easy to get caught in this situation, and it's natural to get depressed. And so we hope that through this conference, at least one aim is to re-energize the Palestinian church, to discover this hope again that lives in her midst.
Now, theology is always a very big subject, and I'm sure you discuss many different theological issues. What kind of theological issues do you actually discuss?
Well, yes, definitely. Theology is very important in this situation, and your theology actually determines many things. We will, of course, discuss the theology of the land, Christian Zionism, justice and reconciliation. And we invited different theologians in addition to church leaders to discuss this issue from all over the spectrum. So if you come to the conference, you will hear the Palestinian perspective on theology of the land. You will hear a Christian Zionist perspective. You will hear a Messianic Jewish perspective, in addition to voices from all over the world on this theological issue. But what we really want to emphasize, and we did this in the first conference, and we want to do this in the second conference, is that no matter what your theology about the land or end time is, that should not decide how you minister on the ground and issues of ethics and justice. These are core issues that we should all agree on. And so we might disagree on end-time theology, but when it comes to justice, biblical justice, I don't think we should disagree. And I think we should all take a stand and take a prophetic voice. And this is one of the goals of the conference, is to engage the church and to maybe reshift the focus of the church from looking at the Palestinian-Israeli conflict from the lens of prophecy into looking at it from the lens of justice and reconciliation, from the lens of how can we be advocates or agents of peace in this place.
Is Palestinian theology different to Western theology?
Absolutely. All theology is contextual. And I think Palestinians and Eastern, here in the East, you look at the Bible from different eyes, and everyone looks from his own context. For example, when you study Western theology, you seldom find any mention of the people living in the land when they discuss end-time theology, and they just think of the restoration of Israel without taking into consideration the people who already lived in the land and have been living there for thousands of years. In addition, I believe Palestinian theologians, in addition to helping the world in issues of the theology of the land, we can together look at issues like Islam and how we relate to Muslims. And we as Palestinian theologians are often disappointed in the way in which the West looks at, for example, Islam and mission among Islam. And that's one other thing we will talk about in the conference.
Does theology determine how people think of a Palestinian?
In many cases it does. And we've had personal stories I can share with you of how people related differently to us when they realized or discovered that we are simply Palestinians or Arabs. People refusing to shake hands with us. People who literally ask us to leave this land because God has promised it to the Jewish nation, and people who've told us that we are a hindrance to peace or a hindrance to the second coming of Christ. And I think very often when you stick to one angle to theology and look at things from one perspective, you become too narrow and you fail to see the diversity of perspectives regarding, in some theological issues. Unfortunately, we see a lot of stereotyping. We see a lot of boxing of people into one box, and we want to challenge that, and we want to challenge our brothers and sisters all over the world to look at the whole Middle East in a different way.
And do you have tours within the conference, and what are the tours aimed for?
Well, the conference is called Christ at the Checkpoint, and it will be meaningless if you come and not see actual checkpoints and not see actual refugee camps. So there will be tours where you will go and see these things with your eyes and not just listen about them. As I said, we will visit refugee camps. We will visit an Israeli settlement to understand the situation more. There is a program that is especially for students where they will visit Hebron and see the work of peacemakers there. In addition, you're in the Holy Land. There is a lot to see. So there are tours to see the holy sites during the conference and after the conference. Church of Nativity, for example, in Bethlehem. So there are tours that are built into the program, yes.
Is justice and peace important to the Palestinian community?
I would say they are very, very important, if not the most important issue we talk about. And they are closely related because we believe that there is no peace without justice. And the first conference last year, the theme was theology in the service of peace and justice because, as I said, if our theology does not lead us to be, as kingdom people, being people who advocate and work for justice, speak about justice prophetically, then, we must revisit our theology. It's as simple as that. And we have suffered a lot in this country. We live under military occupation. We have limited access to resources, limited freedom. We cannot travel freely. Our life is characterized by checkpoints, and it is justice that we are seeking. And it's not justice for us as the Palestinian community, but it's as the Christian community. I mean, it's justice for all the Palestinian community, and this is our role. We see as the church here to be the prophetic voice and pray for our people. Help our people get this situation better. And we hope that this conference will be a small step towards this goal.
Are there big frustrations in the Palestinian community, especially about justice?
Absolutely. We lost big parts of our land just in the last 60 to 70 years, and the refugee problem has not been solved yet. And, justice is at the core of this issue. water resources, for example. Although we share the same water resources, an Israeli person consumes, I think, 4 or 5 times more water than the Palestinian person do. So yes, definitely we feel from the injustice. Life as a minority also can be always challenging, to add to this terrible conflict that we have been caught in. So yes, justice is very important. You hear it in the streets, people talk about that, and everyone has his own way of achieving justice. We have a voice that is very militant in Palestine. There are a more growing nonviolent voice that seeks to accomplish this justice. So it is definitely an important issue for us. In addition, of course, it's basic human dignity thing, because we feel that we deserve to have a country, we deserve to have freedom, we deserve to have a state. We deserve to move freely. We deserve to be able to travel, to have our own airport, to have our own passport, and so on. So these are things that I feel, Palestinians are no different from any other nations, and they deserve these things.
Is it easy to be Christ at the checkpoint when there's a soldier stressed out, standing there with a gun? Is it easy to show Christ to that soldier?
It's not easy at all. It's very challenging, but it's our call. And it's our call to be Christ-like. It's our call to love our enemies. It's our call to look at people as humans, no matter whether they are a soldier, an Israeli soldier, or a Palestinian refugee, or a Palestinian fighter. As Christians, we look at all these people as humans. We want to see them the way God looks at them. And that's why we call it Christ at the checkpoint. We want to look at the conflict through the eyes of Jesus. I would be lying if I say it's easy. Every time I pass through a checkpoint, it is a challenge to turn the other cheek. It is a challenge to keep the hope. But it's the call, and it's what's kept me going in this country, why I'm decided to stay in this country, because I feel that people must have an alternative. People must see a different way, a different path than the path of hatred and the path of vengeance and so on.
And why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, I'm doing because I want, as I said, to be part of this movement that empowers the Palestinian church and gives her hope. Palestinian Christians have been leaving Palestine. Our numbers and percentages keep declining. And this conference is just one step towards maybe starting a movement that helps Palestinian Christians discover Jesus who is within them, and discover the power of a peaceful Jesus, discover the power of forgiveness that we saw in Jesus, and discover that we have a call, we have to stay, we must have a voice, we must be the light and salt. And that's why personally this is my life call. This is why I decided to stay in Palestine, and this is what the conference in a sense hoped to achieve by equipping the church theologically and building a new network for Palestinian Christians who, by the way, feel very much neglected. And every time, I meet a lot of tourists who come to the Holy Land, and they are often shocked when they realize that there are Palestinian Christians who have been living here for many, many years. And really the question many ask me the first time is, when did you become a Christian? Assuming that I was converted from another religion. But the fact is, my great-great-great-grandparents have been living here for hundreds of years. And we could even argue that, when you look at Acts 2, there have been Arabs among the first people who encountered who were there in the day of the Pentecost. And there have been Arab Christians for hundreds of years, since the 2nd and 3rd century. So one could argue that we really have been here for hundreds of years. And so it's a surprise to many Christians all over the world. And so we want to introduce the world to the Palestinian Church through this conference and through the publications that hopefully will come from this conference.
And what's your prayer for Christ at the Checkpoint 2012?
My prayer is that many Christians from all over the world will come and support us, be with us in this important event, show solidarity with the Palestinian Church, with the believers of Christ who have survived here, who witness to God and who are talking about Jesus. So come and be with us. And so I pray that many people will support us in this. And I pray that this conference will really first build the Palestinian Church, motivate the Palestinian Church, and second, help the international community, Christian community, to understand the conflict in a better way and to be introduced to a new perspective. And hopefully that, as I said, Christians have been for many years divided when they look at the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Some are pro-Israeli. Maybe they look at the conflict from prophecy. Some are more pro-Palestinian. And I hope that people who come to the conference will leave dedicated to peace and be pro-church, pro-Jesus, pro-peace in Palestine and Israel. And the evangelical community, the Christian community has a lot of potential within it to make a difference, I believe, in this place. So my prayer is that people will come and be motivated to be agents of peace and reconciliation.
And you have a website, finally, for those who would like to know more about the conference. What's your website address?
Yes, the website is, of course, www.christatthecheckpoint.com. One word, christatthecheckpoint.com. There you will read a lot about the program, the speakers. We have a very impressive list of speakers from all over the world. You will know about the goals, and there is also lots of excellent resources and articles. You can read all the talks from the first conference, and you can listen to all the talks from the first conference as well. And you can stay tuned, because after this conference, all the talks will be also online, because it's a message that we want to give to all over the world. So again, christatthecheckpoint.com.
Okay, Munther, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.